Could you tell us, please, a little bit more about the background of this story, about the resignation of Michael Flynn, and how serious this matter was?
Well, it's absolutely very serious for the Trump administration. Michael Flynn has had to resign. Just last night, he submitted his resignation less than a month into the new administration. So now he is the shortest serving national security advisor ever in the history of the United States. It is very serious also because the bigger issue was not so much that he had conversations with the Russian ambassador. That could be an ethical violation or legal violation or could not. The bigger issue was that he misled other White House officials, particularly Vice President Pence, about the nature and content of that conversation.
Can we tell now that Trump is actually losing his this part of his team, which are the Putin supporters, and who can come instead of them? Maybe it will be some classical Republicans who are against the closer cooperation with Russia.
That is possible. I mean, certainly General Flynn had, I think, some potentially ethically questionable relationships with Russian government officials in between his military service and his appointment as national security advisor. We know particularly that he has attended dinners hosted by RT, Russia's propaganda channel. Now, who will replace him, we don't know. General Petraeus is a name that has come up again. He would, of course, be much more of a traditional foreign policy Republican, as you said, but there may be others in the mix. Kellogg, who is now the acting national security advisor, he's been moved there from his position as chief of staff to the National Security Council, could potentially stay on more permanently as well, and he would also fit that description of being a more establishment, mainstream foreign policy Republican. We don't know, to be honest with you, if General Flynn's resignation, ousting, in the longer term will be a shift towards a more mainstream Russia policy in the administration or not. A lot is really going to depend if the new national security advisor will have the trust of the president that General Flynn did seem to have or not. That is the key question here.
And my last question, really shortly, how do you think, is there a real threat that Trump can lift the sanctions against Russia? And if so, maybe Congress can block it, whether they can do it or not, how do you think?
Well, to be honest with you, right now, sanctions are still only extended by executive order, which is, of course, in complete control of the president to reverse the existing executive order that is a leftover from the Obama administration. Currently, sanctions have been extended by Obama before he left office, about a week before he left office, until March of 2018. So President Trump would have to file another order, sign another order to remove them. Congress right now is considering how to prevent or make it more difficult for the president to relieve sanctions. There are multiple bills going through Congress right now that would codify the existing executive orders, which means that the president and the White House would have to provide justification for removing any sanctions. Some Republican leaders have said that they think this bill can get through and that even if President Trump vetoes such a bill, they would have a veto-proof majority to override that veto. So I think this battle will continue for some time to come, and I don't think the sanctions will be coming off anytime soon.